G'day race fans, welcome back to the final stretch. We are post race 29. I'm Dan Southey and joining me once again is Ash Millar. Ash, quite interesting race we've had here. We have finally set the top 7 heading the sand down. Any of your big thoughts from last night's race?
I wouldn't have too much to pick out other than everyone seemed to have a lot more tamed of a race compared to Saturday's outing in terms of there was one safety car just late in the race. That's the first thing that would come to mind. So there's a lot less chaos going on. People driving a lot. Another thing that would come to mind first up is... maybe touch on it a bit later, but it would be David Reynolds letting Anton by straight away. Just seeing that team component come in.
Team element already started. I'll
come straight in. Straight off the line. I think they were 500 metres into the lap or something.
Yeah, I think it was just after the chicanes, wasn't it?
Yeah. So there's a bit of team play coming in.
Yeah, I do have something to touch on that too. Not with that particular instance, but with another team, but we'll start with this with... We're going to go from a 10th to 1st sort of ratio here. We're going to start with who's out, and that starts with Brody Kostecki.
And his shocking weekend.
Absolute shocker weekend for DJR.
Yeah, shit the bed.
We're not going to touch too much on race 28, because I kind of touched on that in the last final stretch video. But it didn't really get much better for Brody for this weekend. So in qualifying, he missed the top 10 shootout by a fair margin. Now, we do know that car was wounded. The car was fixed enough to race and race somewhat competitively, but as Larko alluded to in the presentation, that it's a good chance that chassis will never race again. That's probably destined to be a ride car after this weekend. But yeah, failed to reach the top 10. And then I'm just trying to find my qualifying notes now for race 29. So he qualified 14th.
Saturday, it felt like Saturday set the tone for Sunday for Kostecki.
Yeah.
I would say, just as you said, the damage followed through, and I think just everything else probably, Kostecki can only try to forget. They try to... I feel
like he shook it off as a driver. Shook it off. He's very well known for doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just think just that massive points deficit that he copped from Saturday's race really snookered him here.
Yeah, it was really win it or just tough shit.
Yeah, exactly.
He probably could have gone top 3 and still got through, but
if he had an average race Saturday, he could have had a shot again for it, but realistically, for him and our next driver on the list, the only way they could really progress was to win a race. It was to win or you're in. So he started 14th. Did work his way up to... Let me get to my notes here. He did work his way back up to... When we're looking at car 38, I didn't write that down to my other notes. Car 38 race 29, he worked his way back to 11th, which is a decent recovery from 14th. They took the early stop strategy, trying to undercut a lot of cars. Him and I believe Ryan Wood did too, I think. Well, that might have been another car that took that strategy. But just to add pain to DJR's to their weekend. Not that really affects Brody at all, but it will affect him in the drivers and in the pit lane.
Yeah.
In terms of, because he still has he's out of the finals, but he still has his fights for within that finals bracket between the other two drivers that have fallen out, plus the teams that are near the better battle.
Constructors.
Yeah, Dick Johnson Racing has been penalised 100 championship points for a technical infringement during the weekend. Now, I was just reading the Speed Cafe article about there's no reports been released by Supercars yet or by Motorsports Australia, but what they believe has happened is during race 29 is that Dick Johnson Racing has topped up the fuel rigs during the race. Now, under the regulation, you cannot top up the fuel rig once it starts, and there's no like fuel limit. You can put in as much or as little as you want as long as the car finishes the race.
Okay, it's just simply procedure.
Well, no, there is a good reason for this, because if you top up the fuel rig, that puts more weight on top of the fuel, which adds more pressure, which means faster fuel flow.
Huh.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, that's what we believe has happened going by the Speed Cafe article. Most of Australia has not released their findings as of yet. So, yeah, that's real disappointing for Brody. It was someone that we're all really excited to see in this finals format, especially coming from his American background of dealing more with these kind of formats. We thought this something would have been he really shined with, and coming up at free tracks that he's been really strong at.
Yeah.
So move on
Drop
to
the bowl.
Yeah, we'll move on to ninth, and our second driver to be out of the finals in the first round, Ryan Wood. Now, this was just a heartbreak alley.
Mechanicals, wasn't it?
Huh?
It was all mechanicals that took Wood out, I believe.
It took him out of race 28, and then I don't know if he was on a lap. I don't know if he caught out by the red flag for Will Brown's red crash in qualifying at the end. There.
Yes, yep.
I think he might have been caught up in that because I don't know if Brody was as well, but we had 4 drivers from the finals that did not make top 10 shootout, this being Ryan Wood, Kostecki, Di Pasquale, and obviously Will Brown himself. So, yeah, that put him back down. He started 13th just ahead of Kostecki, and he would fight his way back in race 29 back to 9th. So, like I said, I'm pretty sure he took the same strategy as Kostecki did. But just wasn't enough. Again, that 20th blow on race 28, which really should have been... It should have been at least a top 5 result at the very least. Very likely it could have been a win, especially seeing the pace of the sister car of the 25.
Yeah.
I think there'll be a lot of soul searching at Walkinshaw and Andretti United. You know, 3 major mechanical failures in 2 races. Have to be looking at what's going on there. Bruce Stewart did say, or not did say, but was hinting that it wasn't the worst thing to have one car now free of the finals, as now, you know, obviously now Ryan's now free to give Chaz a tow in qualifying and Sandown and be a real spoiler throughout the race. How much he would want to do that, I don't know, depends on his own personality and his contracts and stuff. There's always clauses with these things. But there's nothing legally stopping the team from, you know, sending him out short field, you know, boxing him early, you know, pretty much becoming a little mobile chicane. And in terms of teams' rules with these things, like I say, I'm going to come a little bit more up to this when we get to Tickford. But in terms of team rules of this thing, the team orders, they're allowed to swap cars, they're allowed to tell cars to dictate their pace as long as it only affects their own cars. They're not allowed to do a Fabian Coulthard style stunt like Bathurst 2018. What they're not allowed to do, they're not allowed to do anything for, say, manufacturer sponsor requests. So, like, the example I heard on a podcast today was, should have Chevrolet put the 888 not to overtake Cam Hill and knock him out of the finals at Bathurst because that allowed another Mustang in. And that, under the regulations, of course, it's very hard to police that conversation has happened, and that's why it's happening. But under the regulations, that would be wrong. Yeah. So not much to say. Ryan would definitely push his number 2 Mustang as hard as he could, but
they couldn't keep up.
That race 29 was a solid drawback considering the poor qualifying he had. But race 28 really let him down there.
Yes, absolutely it did.
Moving forward to 8th and our third and final driver that's out of the finals in Gold Coast is Anton Di Pasquale for Team 18, the GM homologation team. Man, he was so close to being in. Really, the difference between and I think that's probably going to be the big story of this race is that move on James Courtney in the final few laps, which brought out that safety car. As a real do or do not, do or die either way. If he didn't push for it, he needed that place. If he finished in 9th, was it 9th or 8th? Pretty sure it was 9th. Yeah, if he finished in 9th, he would push Thomas out and he would be up on points into the 7. But he had to push past James Courtney. And James Courtney, one, wasn't playing the game. Two, it's his home race and his farewell race, even though he's got 2 more rounds to go because Gold Coast is his home. So he wasn't gonna just wasn't just gonna let it pass. I saw online people complaining, "Oh, it's James's fault. He was blocking." What do you want him to do? Let him pass?
Yeah.
If I want to see cars letting each other pass, I'll just go sit on the human freeway for 3 hours. Like, we want to see good battles. Yeah. So it was damned if you do, damned if you don't. At the end of the day, he did give Courtney a punt, which pretty much ruined his race. Obviously, damaging the car severe enough that James felt that it wasn't worth trying to bring it back to pit lane, and damaging another competitor too. I believe it was Cameron Hill that came past Courtney just afterwards and clipped him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a tough one for the GM team. Obviously, as I spoke in the first episode with this, they would be wanting to make a good impression here, proving that they are the success of the Triple Eight, and
they had that as a big focus on the broadcast before the race. They had, I believe, the lady's name was Charlotte. She was a GM representative.
Yes, for
and
Australia and also Asia.
Yeah. And so they had Charlie there as well, and they were talking, all right, we really want to step up to this. In doing so, they had also announced a GT Corvette racing in the 12-hour next year. So I say that because, GM are growing, they're really growing, and Team 18 to step up to this plate of where this company seems to be investing in Australian motorsport, it's a lot of pressure, and Triple Eight, they handled that pressure very well. How Team 18 are going to handle it, I think the right people are there, but I think they're going to be doing a lot of learning of how to manage that.
Well, it's unfortunate. And look, we can give them the benefit of the doubt. They've only been a homologation team for fucking 6 months officially now that now it's officially all been handed over because GM wanted no part of Triple Eight after the announcement.
Yeah.
But no, it's disappointing for the team. We know how hard they've been working, and it's disappointing for Anton because it kind of feels like something that would have been great to see there. But I think where it'd be most disappointing if you're a GM fan, that only leaves 2 GMs now in the top 7 to fight for the rest of the
both
season.
Bulls.
Both the Red Bulls, yes. Right, so we're going to move up to 7th to number 55, Castrol Mustang of Thomas Randall.
Love him.
Now, Thomas must have listened to me absolutely ragging on him last week, because I am very, very surprised. Not that I'm disappointed, I'm just very surprised in all the nicest way that he managed to claw himself back into the 7.
You know what? I think what he did was he kept it on the black stuff. And that's all he had to do. With Kostecki taking himself out and Anton hitting Courtney and stuff.
Well, that's one.
Kept it on the black stuff. And fast on the black stuff. Well, that's one thing.
He did everything that he could do. The team supplied a car that was fast enough to be competitive, and he returned the team's favour by not putting it into the wall. Because if you look into it, okay, the team let Ryan Wood down. If they hadn't done that, Thomas would be out because Ryan would be in.
Yeah.
If Brody let the team down by putting it into... Well, there's a lot we can say about that, but we're going to say at the moment with Brody, the team, it's a real 50-50 between who pushed to send that car back out in qualifying.
Yeah.
But regardless, if they both, Brody and team, had been on board to just get it through...
Gotten their shit straight. Yeah.
Again, probably Brody would be in and Thomas would be out. So the team supplied Thomas with what he needed, a reliable, fast car that can compete. And Thomas didn't put it in the wall. In fact, he actually outqualified Cam in the top 10 shootout, which is a rarity. I really struggle to think of when Thomas has outqualified Cam.
I would say that he's done it at the bend once.
At the bend, he's dangerous.
Yeah, at the bend, he loves that place. That's the only one in memory. So this might be the second time. I reckon... You could count on one hand how many times he's out-qualified. As Cam said in some of the interviews he'd done over the weekend, he's really aggressive in that top 10 kind of mindset. He can get really aggressive really quick. Yeah. So that's why he's so dominant in a top 10 shootout.
So, so very, very surprised there. What I am also surprised about, leading back to team orders, So Cam was just about, as long as Cam got a decent result, he was
Yep.
safe, points-wise. He finished 4th
Yep.
on Saturday. He didn't need too much, especially with Kostecki being pretty much guaranteed out to start with.
Yeah.
Now, at some point in the race, obviously Cam had more race pace. They let Cam by. And they pretty much finished, am I looking? Cam, 4th. Waters finished 5th and Thomas finished 7th. Okay, so at some point, Kai Allen got between the two. But for a long time, they were running 1 to 2, even though they were a couple seconds behind. And the question had to be asked, if Anton got into the points position to take Thomas out, are they going to slow him down? And I honestly would have think they would have just done that precautionally. Knowing that Cam's in a pretty safe position, it's Thomas who's right on the edge. Okay, let's get Thomas through. And that was something that we saw with the WAU cars. Chaz admitted on Saturday night after winning that race, the win is in.
Yeah.
But the team's sole focus was to get Ryan in. And if he could, by a scenario like that, by slowing down to let Ryan get enough points ahead of him, provided he wasn't going to win the race.
Yeah.
Provided Chaz wasn't already off to win the race. He would have. Unfortunately, the number 2 car just wasn't there for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm surprised. Maybe that's a huge leap of faith. Maybe that was something they were worried a little bit more about Waters' points chances than Randall's. But no, I'm surprised they did not take up that option just straight up, just to let Cam sit behind Randall and
just be
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Be a, as you said, moving chicane for anyone else who tries to push up on Randall. But having said that, just to top Randall's kind of section off here, he didn't need it, simply put. As we said when we started, he kept it on black stuff, kept it fast, and did what he had to do to achieve a result and, give himself a chance at Sandown. Because, once again, he might just lock in and just keep it straight.
Yeah.
Keep it out of turn 4.
And one more thing before we do leave Thomas Randall here, if you can go onto the, I'll put some pictures up on the screen now. Go to the Tickford Facebook page and look at the damage to that car. Like, it's copped, after race 29, it's copped a hammering all down the sides. Like, the Castrol is literally almost unreadable down the left-hand side of the car.
Love it.
Right, so moving on to 6th, in car 26, Kai Allen. Now, Kai really came to life this weekend, and I don't know how much you saw the broadcast, Ash. If you weren't aware, Kai's never raced here. And I know that because Crompton mentioned it about 400 fucking times.
Yeah.
Literally every time Kai was doing something cool on screen, which was pretty often, he would bring up the same bloody story about how he wasn't sure if Kai had raced here before, and he had sent him a text message early in the week asking him, have you raced here before? And he said, no, I'm actually in the simulator right now.
Yes, I did hear that story through the broadcast.
Did you also hear it 6 times? Because I did.
I caught it the once, luckily. But, I mean, obviously his running the sim worked, the practice, it would have been wild for him to get used to the
and I wonder if
airborne part of the Gold Coast.
I wonder if this is him getting really to settle with these cars. Because, he's not new to him. He did 2 wild cards with his time at JR. A wild card and a co-drive.
Yeah.
But it was about this, if I remember my memory correctly, it was about this time of the year that both Matt Payne and Brock Feeney, in their rookie years, started to find the pace. And I wonder if that's what's going on with Kai. A perfect time for him to do it, just sneaking into the finals at Bathurst, to find the pace of the car, find the limits. And he was not just fast, but really racy and aggressive. Like, you could see him making moves that maybe others wouldn't.
And it makes a lot of sense thinking along that kind of line, because at this time of year we've done, can't think off the top of my head, but 7-8 other circuits around the country. So they've had experience.
This is round 12. So they've done 11 others.
Yeah, 11 other circuits, now 12 circuits around the country. All very different in layouts and just everything. So he's had to play with setups throughout the whole time, and I think that is where a lot of the confidence would come from, was because he's got the experience of being going to Townsville, about another street track, very close walls like Gold Coast, not quite as close, but very close.
Yeah.
And just it's all accumulated, and now he's found his feet to start running. He was walking, and now he's starting to pick up the jog and not to be a punching bag.
And at a track he doesn't know, because every other circuit he's raced either in smaller categories or in Super 2. To come here at a hard track, like we saw a few other, not rookies, but people still new into main game struggle here.
Relatively inexperienced.
Yeah. A hard track and track you didn't know, and be very competitive, like a 5th and an 8th throughout the weekend. That's pretty solid.
Yeah,
a third and a 6th. I'm reading the wrong column.
Yeah. And like a 3rd and a 6th, that's just... Penrite Racing, Grove Racing, they're putting their cars forward, they're spending the money, and it's really showing in the result for their two boys. It really is. Even in the rookie that Kai Allen is, it's
it's hard to remember that this is only Matt Payne's 3rd year.
Yeah.
Like,
I was about to say, I thought it was his 2nd year in my head. Obviously, my math was off, but it's still 3rd year. So when you look at the numbers against everyone else in the field, he's still down at least 2 years on a lot of people. Matt Payne and Kai, obviously, multiple years. So they bring the averages and medians right down with if you were to do the math there. Yeah. All right. Beautiful.
So we'll move on to current 5th place, the number 1 of Will Brown.
Yeah.
A bit of a nothing weekend for him. Tough qualifying. Like I said, he had a crash on Saturday in the top 10 shootout. He had a crash on Sunday at the end of qualifying, which saw him not make the top 10 shootout at all.
Yeah, and cause a red flag.
But
he did pull it out. He did pull that out.
Yeah. So, he had good recoveries, 5th and the 8th.
Yeah.
He clawed back from, I think, 15th he qualified after that, the red flag.
Yeah.
He's pulled that back to 8th. You saw him have a few battles trying to push back some back marks, but you never saw him really interacting with any of the other finalists.
No.
But, if he didn't have such a leg up by originally being 3rd in the championship, he's now dropped to 5th. If he really originally was around that 5th mark, he'd be on the cusp of a real worry here. And, well, as he stands, he's 5th, so the cut line for Sandown is him and below, him, Kai, and Thomas. So he will really have to start working to progress through Sandown.
Yeah, absolutely. The pressure's going to be on him. The one thing, as we've said, I think last week, he can't qualify for shit 9 out of 10 times, but he can move up on race pace. And these races being as long as they are, he does have time to do it, but he's got to get the quality better from here on. Everything needs to be perfect execution as we tighten up through these finals.
Yeah. Moving on to our next driver, someone that I'm surprised we didn't see more of, and he was running the 40 this weekend as a sponsor commitment, is Cameron Waters, again for Tickford. I say he was kind of in and about qualifying in the higher part of it, but a 4th and a 5th, like I said, bit of a good enough. This is one of those cases where not knowing your name is better than nothing. Like he was there, but you didn't see him getting in the carnage. I think I saw him tag the wall late in the race at race 29 on the exit of the beach chicane, but that's really about it.
Yeah.
Like I said, 4th and 5th, well clear. That's 117 points for the first race, 107 for the second, so well clear of the cutoff.
Yeah. Once again, I feel like when you think about it a bit, Tickford probably had a strategy with their two drivers of like, hey boys, just take it easy on each other out there, first of all, as they would always say before any race, I imagine, when the cars are staying right near each other. But also, let's just keep it straight and not do anything stupid. And they clearly listened, and the results speak for themselves with them both moving up.
Yeah. Well, not to back over a lot of what I said about Thomas Randall, but I think there's a case again of, and for once, Tickford's being good on the good side of consistency. Both cars are fast. Both cars are reliable. There's no big fuck-ups. There's no pit stop carnage. Oh, there was for a little bit for Thomas in race 28, but Waters got through both races, no worries at all. And it's shown and Thomas has Cam's repaid that by keeping the car straight and competitive. Like I said, I don't really recall him being involved in many incidents at all throughout the whole weekend.
I think those two will, the pair will drop into Sandown and be fast again. I would hope so, at the very least.
You don't know with Tickford's consistency. They could be nowhere.
I think they'll lock in. I know they will. They have to.
Yeah. So, moving in the third, we have the 19 of Matt Payne. Now, bit of an up and down weekend, bit of a tough race 28 for Matt, but came back pretty decently in race 29, finishing fourth. He now has dropped from third, to third in the championship. It's hard to repeat here. Kind of everything that we just said about Tickford and Penwright really still applies here. We know how good Matt Payne is. Obviously, again, the car was fast. I believe he's on provisional pole. For the Saturday race. Just a good, strong weekend from him. Yeah. Probably the only blight would be that 10th on Saturday, but back it up with a 4th on Sunday, really boosts his points, pulls them clear of the cutoff.
I think one thing to describe the behaviour that we're saying with every single driver is they're all maturing into that championship kind of, like that real championship behaviour mindset of keep it straight, keep it on the black stuff, keep it fast, get it back to the team in one piece, and keep it going for next in 3 weeks for Sandown. Whereas an example being Dick Johnson sending out not him, the big dog himself, but DJR sending out the Kostecki's car in such a shit shape. That's a weak moment. Yeah, where they fell off.
Well, like I said, it's hard to pull where that call comes from. That call from the team or from the driver.
Let's say the team because they're a whole team. But Dick Johnson Racing, Brody included, the whole team, that was a shit decision to send them out. And that's where they've fallen. But everyone else that we've talked about so far, they're all working towards the top of the pyramid with that mindset of a champion.
Yeah. Alright, so I think we'll move on to the big winner this weekend, maximum points for the 25 of Chaz Mostert. Now, Chaz has had a bit of an up and down year. Hasn't been great for him, but he's really shown here. Double wins, maximum points, and from a car that was clearly faster on race pace than what it was in qualifying.
That beer did something for him at Bathurst.
Yeah.
He drank that beer and it changed him. Yeah. And got a sponsor out of Better Beer, I believe.
I think so. It did seem...
If not, some kind of ambassador thing for the night or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah. It is good. As you said before, Ryan should have been up there with him, and Chaz was happy to help him.
Yeah, I think, like I said, there's not much more to say here outside of A++ for Walker Andretti and Chaz Mostert on the 25 car side. So yeah, he's now going in as a favourite. Where if this has been a regular season, you would have been he's out. He's not even within touching distance of the championship in a regular season point scenario. But now now he's second. And, I don't know what his form is like in Sandown. I know he's really strong in Adelaide, so if he can focus on his way to Adelaide, and now, unlike a lot of the drivers here, has a teammate that no longer in the finals and can help him out with a tow and be tail gunners and be a spoiler.
Yeah, absolutely. And just as fast of a car as what Chaz will have, because that outfit is quite good in Walkinshaw.
And then finally, to just finish off here, our championship leader, Brody Kostecki in the number 88. Second for both races. Like I said, he was points clear after the Saturday race anyway, so both him and Chaz were free to fight throughout this race. We saw that desperate lunge after the safety car. Down to turn 5 where it almost ended in tears. But, just Triple A doing Triple A things. Kostecki, not Kostecki, sorry. Feeney being quite strong here, just not quite dominant. He he did lead a large part of race 29 and looked like that he could go on to win it until on the latter half, the 25 started reeling him in lap by lap, and then just massively managed to undercut him during the second round of pit stops and got a huge pace advantage.
Yep. Yeah.
But
he just did good.
Yeah, I think the Triple Eight's focus very much at Sandown will be on the Will Brown side. I feel like they feel that Feeney is safe.
That's their weak link.
He's a strong operator. I don't think there's no... If Feeney is not in Adelaide, I'll be very surprised. I know it would have to be a huge disaster for Feeney not to make Adelaide. Just purely on his domination and pace. And this proves that, look, he didn't score a win all race and all weekend and still got in. Was still mathematically safe on points.
Yeah. He's just fucking good like that. If we're on final notes here,
I think we are.
I'd like to take a moment of appreciation to the broadcast team for on the totem. They had the little gold shields. That was good. And the Mostert and Feeney had the gold black tick within.
Yeah.
That was instantly. I knew what that was and knew what it meant. So I just like a moment of appreciation that they did that for really easy viewing. I don't know what it was like trackside, if they had any signals trackside. I think it was orange writing on the car.
Orange numbers on the cars for the championship. So Anton, Ryan Wood and Brody Kostecki will have back the yellow numbers next weekend.
So they've really thought about the spectators and being able to keep track as much as possible through the totem on the broadcast and trackside, which is a bit harder trackside if you don't have a headset radio and a big screen to look at.
The other thing I wish I would do trackside is get rid of the LED numbers. I actually like the idea, but they only really work when you're looking at the car front on. Yeah,
and there's only so many corners where you are in that position.
I'm all for them being put on this. If they found a way to put them on the side, but the front, I'd rather just go back to a nice big number on the front window.
Yeah.
Before we wrap it off, I think I'll just run back down. So our top 7 drivers that will be going into Sandown in this order will be Brock Feeney, Chaz Mostert, Matt Payne, Cameron Waters, Will Brown, Kai Allen, and finishing off our driver at risk is Thomas Randall. Thanks for joining me, mate, and we'll pick this conversation up probably post 31. We're both going to be at Sandown. I really doubt we're going to find time to do a post 30. I think we'll just do
We'll try and do some stuff live, maybe, or keep it.
Maybe we'll see how we go. If not,
get some posts up.
If not, we'll definitely be posting whether or not if there'll be a little video like this to complement race 30 by itself. Probably not. So in which case it'll probably be a delayed video like today's. So recorded on the Monday. And we'll just cover the whole weekend by and one sit down. But we'll see how we go.
Lovely. Till then.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.